Glad to say there are no reported problems between fans and the police in Toulouse. In fact, the police were reported taking pictures of the fans. Welcome back to TSN's World Cup Control. Always appreciate your comments and questions at our TSN web address. It's tsn.ca/World Cup 98. And our Adidas question of the game comes from Niagara Falls, Ontario. What are the different kinds of soccer shoes that the players wear? And Craig, let's take a look then. We have 4 different Adidas shoes here. And as we take a look at them, these are the new molded soles. And let's stop here and let's just talk about these 2 right here, the new molded boots.
Well, this particular boot here is a 6-stud sort of equivalent. When I say 6-stud, we're talking about this one here. Now, this one has a very comfortable feel to it, like the Copa Mundials. Now, these boots are, usually used by South American players, African players for hard surfaces and dry weather. You'll see that at the World Cup because it's summer and it's very popular. This one is actually one of the most popular boots in the world. Now, this is an equivalent. This is actually similar to the multi-stud, but Adidas has come up with another type of blade. They actually call that a blade type style. It's a new sort of technology, and you'll see a lot of players wearing these boots in the World Cup.
Dick, what's the difference here? Because as I look at the shoe that's closest to you now, there is 2, 4, 6 long studs. Then you go to the one next to that, which is probably around 12 studs, short rubber. What's the difference?
Well, the difference is in the length, and as Craig was mentioning, depending on the conditions, and I'm surprised at times where there's been wet conditions in some of these games and players have been using a short stud because that's the one they prefer. But obviously, you use a longer stud, you're going to get a lot more traction with the ground, and especially for goalkeepers, you've got to have that traction so you're not slipping and sliding. So it's very important what kind of stud you use. The nice thing about these is they can be into place. You can take one set of studs out and screw in another set of studs.
And I guess in the technology aspect of things, what you're trying to do here, Craig, is with the new molded plastic, as you can see, rather than a round stud, it is now more lengthwise, and a blade, and you're trying to, is it all for traction that they're doing this?
Oh, sure, it's all for grip and traction and comfort. Like I say, this particular molded stud here is a very comfortable shoe to wear. This one is not as comfortable. You see this one more in European type countries where in wintertime it's very wet and soggy. I do prefer that as a goalkeeper and defenders. I like to see them wearing 6 studs because if you slip and fall and something like that, it could cost your team a goal. Now, this is another boot here. This one here is now the equivalent of that 6-stud, and it's supposed to work very well. I've never tried it.
Now, it's curious because we were lifting them up. You would think with the molded bottom that it might be lighter, not necessarily so. It just happens to be the design, the blade design of the stud. How many shoes would an average player, say, use in a year? Or do they just break
half
them in?
a dozen.
Half a dozen in a year.
Yeah,
and you keep them broken in. I suspect you don't want to have a new pair.
We usually have a match pair and several for training, and you can actually go through a season with 1 pair, maybe 2 pair of boots because you're just wearing them for games only. And then you have the same boots, obviously, different types and different sizes for training.
What did you like particularly when you played?
Well, I still, when I'm doing the coaching courses for FIFA, I still use Copa Mundial because it's such a comfortable boot and just an excellent shoe.
Which is that one there?
Yeah.
Which is the one in the middle. So now, there you go. You know exactly. That's the Copa Mundial right there. The most comfortable boot, of course, according to our 2 goalkeepers. We'll take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll analyze the first half for you. No score. Romania, England through 45 in Toulouse.